Hello ladies, gentlemen, and persons in between. My name is Tim Snowborn, and today we're going to talk about my not quite OCD on this episode of Not So Serious Issues. So, I had a couple of other ideas I was going to do for this episode, but long story short, they didn't work out. They just fell through. So, this is what I'm doing now. Was one of my backup ideas. So I don't really have OCD for real, like legit OCD, but I do have this kind of weird quirk that I wanted to tell you about. And the best way to describe it is just to give you a couple of examples. I worked in a kettle corn factory in Minnesota. If you've ever seen Angie's Kettle Corn, I worked in that factory, or at least one of them. I don't know if they have multiple factories in America or not. I know we made a lot of popcorn, but I don't know if we made enough for the whole country and Korea, because we shipped some of our popcorn to Korea too. But yeah, I worked in the Angie's Kettle Corn factory, and when we were making the popcorn, we had our kettles there, and we were making the popcorn. We had 2 buckets of dry popcorn seeds next to us. You'd scoop from the bucket into the kettle. I was sort of a relief pitcher. Whenever one of the full-timers needed a break, I would go in and give them a break. That was my job. And if both buckets were equally full, I would alternate back and forth to keep them even. If one of them had more corn than the other, I would scoop out of the one that had more corn, and then I would start alternating back and forth to keep them even. And the reason, it wasn't because I had just this overwhelming need to keep both buckets level. It was that I didn't want the other bucket to feel bad. This is what I do sometimes. I anthropomorphize things in my head and assign human feelings to them. And I thought, if I just scoop out of one bucket, then the other bucket is going to feel bad because I'm neglecting it. The other bucket's going to be like, why isn't he scooping from me? Doesn't he like me? What's wrong with me? And he doesn't want to scoop out of me. Why is he giving all the attention to this bucket and he's not scooping out of me? Oh, I'm so terrible. And I didn't want the second bucket to feel bad, so I would scoop out of both buckets. I would scoop out of both of them to keep them even because I didn't want either one of them to feel bad. And again, if one bucket already had more corn than the other, then I had to scoop out of the one that had more corn so that they would be even and the littler bucket wouldn't feel bad. Phaedrus. Another example, this is a website where you can order your costumes online, and they hired extra people during the month of October to help them pick and ship the costumes that people ordered, and I would do that every year. It was a lot of fun. They had these racks with like a razor scooter attached to them. You'd put like 9 bins on a rack and zip around. There was a code number, and you would zip around and find whatever costume somebody ordered, or costumes if it was a group, and you would pick it off the shelf and put it in the bin and send the bin off to the shipping department. And at the end of each aisle, they had like 5. It was always 5 because they would sit on a pallet. It was always 5 stacks of these bins that we were supposed to use to pick the costumes out. And it was just like the buckets of corn at Angie's. If one of the stacks of bins was higher than the other, I had to pick from the taller one so that eventually I would level them out. Sometimes I would actually stand there and methodically move bins from one stack to another until they were all even, because again, I didn't want the littler stacks to feel bad. I didn't want the little, and I know, I'm not crazy. I know they don't really have feelings. They're not really thinking anything, but I just couldn't help it. In my head, I thought, if I keep picking from the one stack and don't pick from the other stacks, then the other stacks are going to be like, why isn't he picking from me? Why doesn't he want my bins? Oh, I must be terrible. He doesn't want bins. No one wants my bins. I didn't want the other stacks to feel terrible, so I would even them out and I would even them out and pick from the taller ones until they got to be the same size as the lower ones, because I didn't want them to feel bad. So yeah, that's one of my weird little eccentricities. I don't do it all the time. I actually can't remember the last time I did something like that, but anytime that there's stacks of something or bins full of something that I have to take out of, I have to make them even because I don't want the smaller one to feel bad. And that's all I got for today. And so let me know in the comments section if you have any weird personality quirks you'd like to share. Thank you very much for joining me for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, thank you in advance for subscribing. Please check out my previous videos for our other conversations and join me in the next one. Talk to you later, guys. Love you.